In this lesson, we're going to focus on better understanding the critical features of an MTSS framework. So remember that MTSS is a framework. It's not a program or one practice. It's really a compilation of practices and programs that all fit underneath this umbrella of MTSS. And when we look at this, you can see there's a lot there. And in reality, we probably could put a whole lot more on this slide. So it does really become important for us to clearly define the guiding principles of an MTSS framework. So listed here are the critical features of an MTSS framework for a school district. And we're going to unpack each one of those as we go throughout this video. These features are very well agreed upon, and most people would probably say, yeah, absolutely, that's what we should be doing for our students. But it's important for us to really operationalize or clearly define each one of these so that there's less ambiguity, and we can really make sure that we're able to assess whether or not each one of these critical features is in place within our system. The first critical feature, universal screening, allows us to look at a student's performance and progress on a regular basis. Many times it's 3 times a year. And we do this in a really systematic manner so that we're able to identify students who are making adequate progress, those who are at some risk of failure if not provided with any extra assistance, and those who are at high risk for failure if they're not provided any specialized support. The second critical feature, database decision-making and problem-solving, means that our problem-solving really needs to be based on measurable and relevant learning criteria so that our decisions are guided by valid and relevant and reliable data sources. This way we can use data to make changes and determine what should occur this year, and also what changes need to occur in the future to make sure that all students are successful. Continuous progress monitoring is one way that we gather that data to make some of those decisions that were referenced before. And so students are progress monitored frequently so that we can make decisions and instructionally and behaviorally that will benefit our students. The frequency of progress monitoring is really going to depend on the need of the student, so that those with the most intensive needs are monitored more frequently than those who are on track. And really the gold standard would be that this kind of data would be easily kind of graphed, so we would have a really easy, quick visual in order to make our instructional decisions. When we focus on successful student outcomes, we really need to always be looking at whether or not students are meeting benchmarks and meeting their standards. And so it's not really just about how we feel a lesson may have gone. It's really looking at that data again and making sure we're looking at the actual student outcomes of our instruction. When we talk about a continuum of evidence-based interventions, what we're looking at is not just having good interventions in place for those students who are at risk or who are in need of more support, but also that there's a core curriculum that's strong that provides support to all students. And all practices that are put in place along this continuum really should have efficacy and effectiveness, and they need to be relevant to our school setting and culture so that we can implement them with fidelity, and results need to be durable and sustainable over time. The final critical feature is keeping a focus on the fidelity of implementation. And so we need to have systems set up that reflect on data and practices, and that data needs to not only look at whether or not our student outcomes are good, but also data that reflects whether or not we're actually doing what we said we were going to do. So whether we're implementing with fidelity, and we really should have data pieces to help us make that decision and assess whether or not we're doing it well. And so that's really it with the critical features of MTSS. We've gone through each one of them. And if you wanted to see those features play out a little bit further, there's 2 videos in the resources below that you could look at. One from Boulevard Elementary, which is in the state of New York, and one from Tigard High School in Oregon. So take a look at those videos, and there is an activity to complete, and we look forward to hearing your input.